stupid.
Yeah, that is dumb.
Yeah, there's that subdivision right there.
All right, I don't see any amendments.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
The motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So invoices, commissioners report, and credit applications. They've got a couple of things on the invoices. These testing allocations to all the different counties.
Oh, those are problem-solving courts, state monies. Carrie gets those in and then does an allocation to all the counties for a portion of that money.
Okay, and I mean, it was anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 to every county.
Actually, I think what happened is they built some reserves in drug court, and now they're trying to drop those down a little bit, so they're paying it out to the counties.
They're getting in trouble for it. That bill that they passed this last year about you can't have that amount on reserves.
And then the other one is C. Haney.
Hold on one second. I need to go into an executive session on that.
That might just be a attorney piece. Oh, Clee Heaney. That's that's a restitution reissue. So restitution, you know what restitution is? They're court-ordered payments. So if you have a car broken into, the person that did that will be ordered restitution to pay you back.
Okay.
That's what that is. So
Okay.
that individual had some restitution checks that were never cashed. So we just did a reissue to pay him those because he finally turned up so that we could give him the money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just the name when I come across that.
It's
Looked.
Heaney. Heaney. Something like that.
Okay.
Just making sure.
Yes.
I
No,
went through that. It
that could draw attention.
caught me off guard a little bit. And then on the checks, or on credit cards.
Yes.
A lot of people buying chairs and yoga chairs, yoga balls. What office is
Somebody bought a $700 chair.
one person bought a $700 chair, so there's a lot of $200 chairs
I should have looked through
and
that.
A
$700.
regular chair like this is about $189 to $200. That's kind of a normal professional chair that you're going to sit in every day. That's okay.
Page 10.
If you want to sit in a professional chair, unless
Where the
like
chair
it
is.
like you.
Oh, highlighter.
Yeah.
So 288 is, that's one of our grants. I can find out who that is.
I think that's the
And-
chair that got sent to, it was delivered to
You guys,
reporting, but it wasn't one of ours.
it was 288 is domestic violence, but I know it's not Kim's chair because Kim doesn't even have a desk hardly.
Right. Tori found out whose it was.
Okay, and this one is, that's my chair.
And see, but that's what I'm comparing.
Right, she needs to have the names of who it is. Well, she does have auditing. WC.
Wood court?
There we go, Wood Court.
Is that for a judge?
No, that would be for one of the
Okay. Well,
admin
and like I
people.
said, if there's, but when everyone else is buying
Where's the-
$200 chairs.
Yeah, mine was $180.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
there was
these
a couple
chairs.
of them
Yeah.
at 220 and stuff, and
Yeah, $250
but
is
when I
anything-
see $700 compared to
Oh, yeah.
Right.
$200,
That's-
700's a little out of.
wait a minute,
And
that's
this one
quite an executive
is
chair.
I looked at that and I'm like, no.
140's throwing me off, and it's just because I have to think. 140 is appraisal. So that one's an appraisal chair for $250.
And to me, that's in the
And that's an
ballpark,
assessor.
you know?
Yeah. This one is room bridge.
That
that
was,
the bulk of them?
that's the ones that I marked.
Okay.
And then,
But yeah, the Wood Court one,
Is that Wood Court or is it D6?
Wood Court.
D6 is the one that had their chair sent to our office.
For $700?
No,
Okay.
Hang on,
but
let me-
it didn't look like this. It's one of those that sometimes you look at those chairs and you think, yeah, that's probably a $200 chair, and you look at it and it's $700 when you go shopping at Porter's or wherever. And so I don't know if it was that much or not.
Let me double check, I don't think that's,
Well, like I say, there was
because she should be 282, not
4 or 5
288.
chairs
Yeah.
here, and the one's 3 times as much as everybody else's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wood court. So that would be, either Katie or Lacey. Not Lacey, Lacey?
No, not Lacey.
Now, there can be some extenuating circumstances due to ADA compliance, and there's some issues if you have to have, but there better be some
And this
documentation
unfortunately is on
of
the
what we're doing and why,
credit
we're-
card,
you know,
It's, and
which is fine. If somebody has a spine
But I
issue
can-
and they have to have
but I
surgery,
can
hey,
follow
totally
up on
got it.
You know,
But
there's got to be a reason,
standard.
there's gotta be a reason.
in my opinion, and that's the reason I bring up the balls
Uh-huh.
chairs.
Well, that,
They're not good for your back.
well, and they're also kind of, to me, they would be, if you're not paying attention, they could be a hazard because you could fall off. Granted, I could fall out of a chair like
Well,
this
and-
too.
Well, I just tell you that the staff, a lot of people up there at On went through the yoga balls and they didn't last 2 months.
Okay.
And
Well, at least
they
it's only
got rid of them
$7.
because they really weren't that comfortable. You don't have a back support.
Well, some do.
Yeah, some of them
have
do.
that.
But it's
Makeshift.
kind of a, you'll get wedged in between it. if
You
you're not
really
careful.
don't have a back
Yeah,
support
it's one
compared to a chair. I mean, anyway, I just,
On those, would you like me to ask the departments to tell us who they're for?
yeah.
And then,
Yeah. Those are crazy.
maybe somehow we can say, if you're gonna have a chair that's over like $300, it needs to rational, I
What's
mean,
the
you need to say why,
justification?
yeah.
That's
Stupid long.
I can get justification on that one.
Oh.
Unfortunately, well, we could still return it
Well,
if it's too much.
Let's see the justification
let's
before
see.
we do
Yeah,
that.
Okay.
let's
Okay, can
go
you write
through
that
that
out?
process. It's just, like I say,
Yeah,
I'll go find that chair.
it
you do
just,
that?
I'll go find who did it.
it just
Yeah.
Yeah,
come to my attention as I was going through things.
oh, those are all good.
So,
And then do you wanna look at,
okay, let's talk about
Do you-
these other invoices for a minute. This one is for, what's the firm?
Oh,
Chenault?
oh,
That's
where we're
the-
gonna pay for that.
yeah.
Unfortunately, we are really tight on money in public defense, in court appointed. And the only thing I could think of to do is try and look and see if we can move money from the contract over, move more money, because I was afraid to move too much. I didn't have a chance to do that yet. I can try and do that today. And then if we can find the money to move, then we could pay it out of the court appointed. If we don't, we're gonna have to use contingency,
That's fine.
just because that's a big one.
That's
Yeah.
what it is though.
So,
But is that, these are all separate cases though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but
On
at
this
least they're
one-
breaking that.
on this one, would you be okay with using contingency? We've only spent 40,000 out of 300.
I'm okay with that.
We gotta pay it. I mean, it's.
I mean, it's the first part of August, so we've got another 6-7 weeks.
Well, and you'll start seeing as you start getting other attorneys and stuff coming online, it'll start,
If you'll give me that one, I'll.
hopefully we
put it in
shouldn't
my office,
have those ones because we'll start having other conflicts there, but.
Yeah. But that was just a big,
And there weren't any cases or anything in there that we can see, there's no, those are all just misdemeanor and minor felonies, those aren't.
Braden looked through them.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I was just wondering to see if that, because like we have like the capital defense or, some of this,
Oh.
he's not
Yeah.
being public defender on any of those major cases, because all of those are held in-house.
Yeah, they should.
one that you just give us?
Yeah, Dan Kendall requested that one.
Okay. Okay, let's go through.
Okay, I'll give you the easy
Those are
ones.
invoices?
These are mileage, so I'll give you these first. These are fair judges for 4-H. So they're not employees.
Okay.
That one doesn't have an address on the front. I don't like that, and I'll let them know that we need an address because they're not employees, so we always require that.
Yeah.
They do have a map on the back, but that doesn't mean anything to me. The map just verifies the mileage.
Yeah, and that's what, when I talked to her in your office down there, she says that they put a map on it
Yeah.
and everything.
And the address is on the insurance card, but I still wouldn't use an insurance card because people can move. So we'll get the address from her on that.
Okay. But yeah, but instead of prepaying, I like this a whole lot better.
All the fun ones.
There's no written justification on any of those as to why a personal vehicle was taken as opposed to a county vehicle. I've heard the anticipation is they know those will be denied, and they're anticipating that. So. And the one I had to get clarification because it's driving to Salt Lake, but at the top it just says what the event is. So I let Trina know that in the future she needs to tell me where they're driving, because otherwise it looks like they're only driving however many miles, but to go all the way to Boston. So.
And this conference is,
So there's the summer school that was held in Boise that all of the assessors went to. Anita came before you to talk about the approval because it was going to spend more than $1,000, but it was for all the people to go.
Right.
They took county vehicles. Sherry did not. And then week after next, Sherry and Anita will be going to Twin Falls for the assessors conference. And Anita is assuming she'll ride with Sherry, but Sherry has requested to take her own vehicle. And then the last one is to drive to Salt Lake to go to the Boston conference.
that's what this one is.
Yeah,
So it hasn't happened yet.
no.
Oh.
And the Twin Falls one has not either. But the summer school
Well,
has.
so this goes back to the same thing, is when I drive my personal truck to Boise, I don't reimburse mileage because it's my personal vehicle and there is a county vehicle of a cheaper means to the county available.
Jen Clark drove to Bonner's Ferry for Treasurers Conference this week. She took her truck. She didn't even want to ask for for reimbursement, but she chose to take her truck because of how far it was. She's eating it
And
because she could have asked for prior approval, but she opted.
I talked with her about that. She had some personal things that she was going to do that she felt would be inappropriate in a county vehicle. And so she took her own vehicle.
Imagine that.
wow.
And didn't ask for reimbursement.
Well, see, and that's the whole thing is, now, if there's not a vehicle available, I'm more than okay with paying mileage and that. If there's nothing, but you should always go to, because the main thing it comes back to, if you're in your personal vehicle and you get in a car wreck and you are on county business, I'm sure I got at least one lawyer in the room right now. I'm sure that there would be I'm sure somebody might want to sue you and sue the county because you're on personal business in your personal car. And that's something that I really don't want to have to deal with.
Because 2 of the events have not occurred yet, then I think you could still address those
Pre-approval.
to
or
say
denial.
you would need to.
Submit a reason why.
Yeah,
show that there's not a car available. Okay, it's easy.
And I don't know who you would like to handle that.
When are those events?
One is week after next, a week from, I'm not sure what day they're,
Well,
it's just in
We
Twin.
got time.
Yeah, we'll talk to Chief
Yeah,
Staff.
but the other one
We'll
was,
make his day when he gets back.
Everybody else took a county car.
Yep, that's fine.
So that means that there was room in the cars or
well,
availability?
that I don't know, it would depend. Everybody, because the schedules, remember the schedules are really weird. They had 2 or 3 cars going.
Well, I know that they have adequate cars in that department for everyone to be.
Well, and there could have potentially been a
Have them
camp.
submit justification.
There could have been a commission vehicle available too.
There's gonna be justification on all of them.
Okay,
We'll put them on Braden's desk and
okay.
let him
Sort out.
talk with his favorite person in the whole wide world.
We have,
So,
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Commissioners' invoices, reports, claims, and all credit applications that have been presented.
we have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And
We'll hang out for a minute. Actually, we're at 15.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can go.
we can go,
Yeah, let's go.
okay?
Does Rocky have anybody else here with him, or is it just him?
Was anybody else coming with you, Rocky? That's my knowledge. Okay,
Oh,
come on
yeah.
up.
I thought for some odd reason he was listed later than 9:30, but I realized I put them all together. Sweet.
They're all at 9:30.
Let's do this.
All right.
So I think we're here this morning for the Practice Panther software.
Make sure you state your name just so Nancy knows for the record.
Sure. Rocky Wixom, Conflict Public Defender. So I think we're here requesting funds for law office management software.
Case management software, yep.
Yeah. So I think that there's already a software in use by the Maine Public Defender's Office, and the original plan was to just have us use that.
Yeah.
But in my understanding of the efforts with it, we got really close to it, but then they couldn't find a way to where we wouldn't have access to each other's files, which as a conflict office, that can't happen. So I'm proposing that we use what's called Practice Panther. It's a privately funded software. It's not designed for government work. It's just a private solo practicing attorney, or you can have a firm with it. I use it for my private practice I have outside of Bannock County, but I would be proposing to get a different account for that same reason. I don't want to have my paralegals accessing
Yes.
files, obviously. So there are 3 tiers for the software. There's $39 per user paid annually. For the lowest tier, there's $49 for the medium tier, and then I believe it's $79 per user for the upper tier. I don't need all the billing stuff, obviously, which is the upper tier. I'm inclined to the middle tier because you have to have the middle tier, the $49 a month, to integrate with your calendar. And I'd be integrating with what I'm already using with the county, the OneDrive and the Microsoft Outlook calendar. And it also gives me integration with my emails. So that's what I'm proposing. I'm going to try to do it if Practice Panther lets me get away with just having one user being myself, and then I'll give my assistant access to that password as long as they don't have any beef with it. I don't think that they will, because I think they typically only charge for the second user if you're putting in their name and billing time and have different account, like email accounts and whatnot. And so I think that I can get away with just one. If not, then I would ask, at least for advance approval, to go ahead and have 2 users for my legal assistant. But just with my commitment that I'll try to avoid 2 users if I can.
Well, and I think the software that the Public Defender's Office uses actually, even to add another users was far more expensive a year than what this is. So, that conversation.
Okay, so we need that to start this year.
Yeah,
Month.
we're kind of, we need it.
Yeah.
And for justification, the biggest thing that appeals to me is the conflict checks with all the different witnesses or other co-defendants. Right now, we're doing it manually with a spreadsheet, which is doable, but the software makes it so much easier and smoother. It also lets me record text messaging with clients, emailing with clients, all the client files right from OneDrive. Bannock County will still have all the files on OneDrive, but I have the software to manage those files. And that's why
Yeah.
it's
Okay,
important.
and we're hiring the other attorney.
Yeah.
Have you talked with him? Does he use this or I mean,
Yeah, I
I
understand.
guess it wouldn't really matter. He could use whatever he wants because it'd be on your computer and his computer as comparison, but.
I haven't spoken to the other attorney about it, but I did send an email to, I'm still learning the names. Was it you? Someone from the
Find
clerk's
funding.
office to
Yeah,
find funding.
yeah.
And then also had Adam McKinney look at it for integration. He says it should be fine. He looked at the software. If the other attorney doesn't necessarily like Practice Panther, because there are different programs out there, there are like 2 or 3 other programs on the market that are right in the same price range. So there'd be options if he chose not to do Practice
Yeah,
Panther.
where we treat it as a separate office, I mean, we try not to use all one software, but if we are broken up on, I mean, it's one user license. Granted, we want to try and keep it all in one house if we can, but I'm assuming even if they use the same software package, we actually don't want the same account. Even.
Right,
It has to
right.
be a separate account.
Exactly.
So it really wouldn't matter if it was that program or a different program because
Right.
they cannot ever touch.
Separate
Yes.
billings anyway.
And all we need is somebody to do an update somewhere in the back end of the software, and all of a sudden we have everything dumped, and then we just created a big problem. So.
And I think because we're only talking a couple $1,000s of that.
Yeah.
I think we want to pay it out of his office budget.
Okay.
Just simply because let's pay the higher
Yes.
conflict bills out of contingency if we have to. But then if we can keep the operations spent out of your budget, it gives us a better track record and consistent history of how much it costs to run the
It
office.
might even be cheaper if we pay for it all in 1 year, for a year-long.
Well, that's what I was thinking, we'll pay
Yeah.
for a year's worth.
Yeah, you save $10 a month if you just pay for it.
Okay, yeah, that's,
If you need to do that through credit card,
Okay.
if you do,
Yeah.
just go to my office and we have an online credit card that you can use
Okay.
for it. If you can get an invoice for it, great, then we could just write a check for it. But
Okay.
if you need to use a credit card, just pop down to 104.
I'm okay with that.
And
Go
we
ahead.
have an internet card specific for that.
I appreciate that.
And thank you for contacting the right people, talking to IT, talking to Christie, and,
You're welcome. That was under Shanda's direction, so thank her.
well,
It makes it nice when
I'm
people
happy to
start
do it.
talking and looping people in, because
Yeah.
then we don't get caught by surprise when we're all sitting in this meeting trying to figure out what's going on.
And then when you get the next attorney on board, he can look at the software. If he likes it, we'll get it. If not, then we can get whatever he needs.
Just so you know, I contacted the sheriff's office, and they are stepping up patrols on your building
Oh, okay.
during the day and in the evening. That's part of the regular business check now, so that is part of the, just go through there and just, so you know, there are people, PPD apparently is supposedly also doing the same thing. So you do have, just folks, so you know. 'Cause
Oh,
that was,
I appreciate
that was
that.
something that was discussed about just people in the building that, or in the parking lot that shouldn't be in the parking lot. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that particular issue got resolved, but we appreciate that.
okay.
So,
So,
all right.
And I can, when you get that invoice, you can either bring it to, you can just give it to Kelly in my office, or
Okay.
you can give it to Shanda or Brandon, and I can let them know where we're going to pay it.
Okay.
Just let me know what you do with it so I can,
I will, yeah, so you know how to track it.
yeah.
Yeah, you bet.
And I can let whoever know.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Cool, thanks, sir.
Yeah, ready to go.
What are you here for?
Crisis Center.
Oh, okay. And they're not, are they showing up? Supposedly?
I haven't had any contact with them.
Okay. And what are you here for?
Oh.
On-call. Oh, the on-call discussion?
Okay. Okay. And who's, Braden's not here. Who is directing that?
Who's the Braden fill-in? Is that,
The on-call.
are you the
I'm
on?
familiar with it.
I might touch it.
Yeah, I can talk about it a little bit too, so maybe between Ryan and I, we can
Okay.
Were we
muddle.
going to have any other departments come for that?
Because
I thought Scott was gonna come and Matt was gonna come.
Yeah, the.
What about the sheriff? Were they invited? They should be.
Sheriff is on the list of attendees, so, yeah.
And
Give it a minute,
Who
then.
else?
Yeah, Matt was the main
Scott,
one that
Matt,
brought it
sheriff,
up.
the sheriff, Kyle, Scott, Seth.
That's why I was wondering if I messed up.